What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes, always delivering the big names. Today we get to talk to Junior Dos Santos, JDS, a former UFC heavyweight champion, now doing this thing in the bare knuckle scene. He's going to be fighting against Alan Belcher on March the 2nd, and it's at Game Bred Bare Knuckle MMA. So we're hybrid, I guess it's hybrid there, MMA with no gloves. How you doing, Junior? Good to see you again, man.
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How about you guys? Good to see you too.
Good. Thank you for asking. So you've had a taste of bare knuckle, but now you're doing what? Bare knuckle MMA, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I just had my first fight with Fabricio Verdun, and we were able to fight against each other again after 15 years of our first
hmm
fight, and that was great actually.
How did your hands feel after fighting bare knuckle MMA?
I felt very good actually, because I wasn't throwing very hard punches. One of the things I noticed while I was in the locker room watching the fights before of mine, I saw that some of the guys that were throwing punches, after they connect the first one, they weren't like throwing as hard as they were throwing before the other ones. So I said,
Right.
man, they must be hurting their hands or something like that. So I gotta be careful with that. And in the fight, boxing is my thing. So I was moving around and throwing fast punches, but not with not heavy punches, not with full power, just more like a touch. But in bare knuckle, every touch, man, is a cut.
Right. Have you what did you learn from that first fight? I guess now you have an idea of how hard you can throw, or the last thing you want is a broken hand. It looks like if your technique is clean, your hands have a better chance of surviving versus maybe off balance and using the wrong knuckle or something like that. What kind of lessons did you take?
Yeah, for me it was great. I was able to see that. That the fight itself is much more real. You don't just you don't just act crazy like some of the guys they do and just throw punches. Any way, any direction, any type of punches. So for me it was a great experience, and I saw it's the real deal. You gotta be very careful with the way you act, the way you move around, and the way you throw your punches against your opponent. It's not just being aggressive. You gotta fight smarter. So my experience, with the bare knuckle was awesome, and like I said, for my style of fighting, it was perfect because I was feeling good. I was moving around good, and I was throwing fast punches. And every punch, like I was able to touch Verdun. It was a open cut on his face. So yeah, for me it was a great experience, and I really believe this fight, this next fight now, I'll be able to do even better.
Are you and Fabricio cool after the two fights? Is everything fine? You guys friends or rivals or what? What's the deal?
Well, we always were feeding this rivalry between us, and but the truth is, for the first time, I was able to. Right now, we are fine. We are friends.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna. He already invited me to his podcast in Brazil. As soon as I go to Brazil, I'm gonna go to his podcast now. But that's why the fight was important to go by points, even because of that, because we had a little bit of more time in the cage, so we were able to talk to each other finally,
Right.
and I was able to talk with Coach Rafael and things, and explain that it doesn't make any sense for us to keep this rivalry going on. We'll never fight again. And then the truth is, before our fight, I was a fan of Fabrizio Verdun and of him and Big Nog. Big Nog was my the guy I was I was
like a mentor,
following, like trying to be like him or something like that. But I used to admire Fabricio Verdun a lot as well, because he was the Brazilian representative, in the world for the heavyweights. And
right.
and then after our fight, everything what we said, everything, the way things happen, make this a rivalry between us, and we never talked to each other again. I was never able to say something about that because we were feeding that rivalry. But now,
Right.
after 15 years, 8 years later, we were able to fight each other again. And finally, I was there, and I said, man, if I have nothing, but I'm thankful. I fought you back in the day. I used to, I admire your career actually. And 15 years later, we are here fighting again. And I remember my debut when I fought you. I was fighting Fabricio Verdun, the guy who was the big name of Fabricio Verdun at that time, who was supposed to fight for the title already. And I was doing my debut in the UFC when I was fighting you. Everybody was talking about that, So the world was able to notice me because I was fighting Fabricio Verdun. So I'm thankful for that, And let's stop
Right.
with this. So they really get along with me on that on that aspect. And now everything is fine. Thank God, we are let's say friends.
Right. And both of you guys are very nice guys. You like to laugh and joke around. So I'm glad that you guys can, you guys are cool now. And if you think about it, this might be a stretch. I don't know. But he came from that Shootbox lineage years ago, and you came from Brazilian Top Team lineage, not necessarily directly with Brazilian Top Team, but through the Nogueira brothers who came through the Brazilian Top Team, and then him, obviously through Coach Rafael, Cordero, who started with Shootbox. So it was pretty interesting to see this rivalry almost 25 years later, still kind of have some of the students that kind of came through those paths collide. I enjoyed your last fight.
Yeah. Well, it was a great fight, and you're right. There's always something involved. Like Shootbox, the biggest, like the great team of Shootbox, and also the Brazilian Top Team. All the rivalry that happened in the past. And the big teams, they were working so hard. And they had so many great fighters that even not being part of a Brazilian Top Team or something like that, we are a reflection of that. Many of us of
Exactly.
fighters over there. So of course, in a different way of this thing of rivalry, because today things are better, and I think we are even getting better as human beings, as men, that we are, because we are able to focus our energy on the real competition, not on this blah 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 and things like that. We go there, we sell a fight, of course, but then we go there and then we put in a good show, and that's it. It stays there. Everything stays there. So I feel good about it.
Junior, you've had a remarkable career in combat sports for so long, and you've seen so many different types of opponents. Alan Belcher, where does he rank amongst those? Has it gotten to the point where you've seen so much that it's really more about like getting yourself in the right frame of mind and all that? Or are there still things that concern you about opponents, different things that they bring to the table?
Not really. It's about the more experience I have. It's a very interesting point that you bring it in, because the more experience I have, the more I see. I was talking to a friend of mine not long ago, and he was talking about the opponents. You fought Verdun, now you're gonna fight Alan Belcher. These different opponents, and I was kind of thinking with myself and realizing for a long time already, maybe it was never about the opponent. It was never about the opponent. It's always about myself. The real fight is with myself, because if I'm fine, I understand this fight with Fabricio Verdun just showed me that if I'm fine with my mental work, if I'm doing a good, if I'm, let's say, doing a good job with my mental part of the game, and also with the physical part of the game, training hard, but also believing in myself, not having those ghosts in my head, that sometimes take you away from where you should be, like it was before, under a lot of pressure, let's fight, next fight, always next fight. No, it doesn't, you never stop to think and to realize things better. So now I can have my time with myself, and I can work better on myself in my mind. And I really see it's the real fight is with myself. Because if my mind is in a good point, I have a good work done with my mind, it's my body, like physically as well, man, nobody can stop me. And that it was that's how it happened on the beginning of my career there in the UFC things. I was just enjoying, having really appreciation for every moment I was living. So everything was happiness about me. You said I'm a nice guy. Yeah, I like nice things, and I understand to deserve nice things, you gotta be nice. So I'm a nice guy, and I want the nice things to happen in my life. But at some point, things start to happen so automatic in your life that you don't stop to really absorb everything and take away the bad things and just keep the good things there. So now I feel this, the real fight was always with myself. Because if I'm in shape, if I'm in a good shape, if I am mentally well prepared, man, nobody can stop me. I can beat all these guys again, like I did back in the day.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe at the end of the day, is a fight where your nerves are the same no matter where you're fighting, who the opponent is, or throughout the years have you found a way to maybe put those to the side? Like, do you still have like a little bit of nerves before as you're walking out? Is that same adrenaline the same for you?
Let me start saying this. Like this fight with Fabricio Verdun, to tell you the truth, that was the first fight in my life, in my career, that I was able to really enjoy the fight, to really be there in that moment, because I was always away from the moment. I was always imagining things. Even my last fight in the UFC, let's say, I was walking in the things and so nervous because I was imagining things. I was imagining things that didn't happen. It wasn't reality. In most part, or actually the biggest part of those thoughts didn't became reality. So I was draining my energy by myself, and this time was the first time I was kind of relaxed. I had all those experience, and I felt like, I'm not going there to win or to show or to prove anything. I'm just going there to show myself, to show who I am, and at this point of my career, what I can do, what I still can do as a fighter. So then I took all the pressure away. And for the first time, if you see during the fight, I was laughing. I was talking with Fabricio Verdun, because that's myself. I wasn't just nervous. I wasn't just too anxious, willing to win and get away from there. It doesn't make sense for you to understand. Like my last fight in the UFC. In the UFC, I was in the locker room getting ready to go in the cage. And for you to understand what I'm talking about, I was thinking to myself, man, let's get this done as soon as I can, because I want to go back home to my family, to my kids. What kind of, that's a completely strange thought. You should be 100% there. That moment needs to be something good, something that brings you a good thing, like good feelings. not something that you want to avoid. I was trying to avoid those feelings, all those things, So of course something was wrong, and that's why I say for the first time ever, I was able to be there without pressure, without putting pressure on top of myself, and that then I resumed that saying it's the fight itself is against myself. If I'm good with myself, I can perform very well and beat these guys.
Junior, are you happy with the landscape of mixed martial arts right now, especially in the heavyweight division? Because you did a lot for our sport, and you did a lot for the heavyweight division. You put a really big spotlight on it. Yourself, Velasquez, Verdum, Overeem, Mir, so many of these names did so much battle. Now we have a new generation of fighters, right? Like you have your Francis Ngannou's, your Tom Aspinall, Sergey Pavlovich. How do you think those guys match up to what you guys did for the heavyweight division? Do you think is there much of a difference between the new generation and a little bit of the older generation?
Well, yeah, things are today. I think things are getting more organized. For them to kind of take advantage of that and get well prepared for the fights or things like that. But I see a big difference, from when things were happening with us, especially with me. I went through many very tough situations, and I never really absorbed the negativity, because if I were able to really listen to the opinions and to the and what the fighting world was expecting from me, I wouldn't have become a fighter. So sometimes you can just put those things away and keep moving forward on the things that you really believe. But I see things are changing in a big way for all the sport itself, but I hope for a better way. I hope for something even better than we lived in the past, we can live in the future. Because today, no doubt, we have much more fans. We have much more people following the sport, appreciating us, the fighters who are there to put in a good show for them. So I really hope, all these promotions and all the fighters out there, they kind of really work together and make things better.
Junior, who hit you the hardest in your career? Is there one person that had a good punch on you? Is there one person you remember that landed a good punch on you that stood out?
Yeah. The hardest was Stipe Miocic. No, on the first fight that I won. Yeah. I remember, because I remember the second one I didn't even remember well. But on the second round of the first fight, he connected very across my face. It was very, very hard. I remember I couldn't see, and I couldn't even hear. I was there. I was fine. I knew that what was happening, but I could. My vision was very blurry, almost black, and the noise was bing in my ear, and I couldn't hear. If you see in the video, I'm doing like this. I was trying to find him. Where is him? In the video on the second round, and luckily he came closer to me. So trying to enjoy or something. So then I hold him, for a little, I was breathing and kind of recovering. So that was the hardest punch I ever took from a fighter, So when they asked me this question, who hit me the hardest, was Stipe Miocic, who's a very, very hard hitter, of course.
And that's incredible, because think about all the hard hitters you fought.
Yeah.
Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou, Mark Hunt, Shane Carwin.
They didn't connect anyone very strong. Stipe did.
That's awesome. What's the nicest compliment a former opponent told you?
Well, to come and shake my hand, to get along with me nicely. I think that's a nice compliment because in the fighting world we have much of these guys that they kind of take the things for a different direction, right? So when the guys are nice with you, like as you said, I'm a nice guy. I like to be nice with other people. So when I have nice guy, the guys being nice with me, I feel that that's great. I was able to be training with Pavlovich now here in American Top Team.
Yeah.
And what a nice guy. He's a great guy, and they come and talk to me like he was saying, that he used to watch me when he was young. It made me feel a little old, but when he was young, he used to watch me, and I was a kind of a inspiration for his career. Man, that was something
that's
really
nice.
special. But one of the things that makes the big difference for me as well is the kids. When the kids come and talk to me, now that I have my 6-year-old boy and my 4-year-old girl, and they come to their friends, at school or something, and they say that my father, my dad is a fighter, something like that, like showing some that they enjoy that, and even the friends. My daddy already told me that your dad is a fighter and he used to watch him, and it makes me feel good.
That's awesome. Last question. What was it like in Saudi Arabia to be amongst so many former champions from the boxing and MMA world? On your Instagram, there's some really, really cool pictures, but what was that experience like? Not just with the MMA guys, but the boxing guys.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Everything what they have been doing there in Saudi Arabia is just amazing. We are very thankful for them to make things happen for the fighters. It was much more boxing guys legends. Larry Holm, man, I cannot even mention them. All of them were there. Many nice guys, and all of them were. It was very good to be hanging out with them, and for me it was an experience of that I'll carry, for my life, because it was really, really nice, and then to be able to watch the show that they put on over there, with Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. Man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and like I said, everything what they have been doing there in Saudi Arabia for the fighting world is unbelievable. And the time we went to Riyadh, and the time we spent there was also great. Everything was super nice, good food. I wasn't expecting all of that. I wasn't expecting all of that because what we know about them is that everything is different, right? But it's different in a good way, because they have many good things there, and it's good for us to be enjoying those things as well. I had great times, and I'm looking forward to be there again. And this time, maybe to be fighting, not to be visiting.
You want to box on an undercard of Ngannou and Joshua? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I always told you guys, all of you guys, right? My main thing is to fight boxing. I want to fight boxing. I'm a boxing guy, everybody, all of you guys know, everybody knows that. And that's the area I feel more comfortable. And that's where I think I can make, better performances and things like that, So I'm looking forward, and it's getting closer and closer to finally happen. My debut in the boxing world, and against one of this top boxing. Me and Francis Ngannou, we're gonna be making a partnership to beat these boxers now. Let's do it.
Is there a name yet? Is there a name in boxing?
Not yet. We are working on that. Of course, now I have this fight in front of me, and for the next step, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But man. There's like I told you, I've been looking for this boxing fight for a long time already, and it was never possible to happen because all the big guys, like they didn't want really to fight me, and the guys who accept to fight me, the promoters didn't really like to promote. So it was always something, happening. But now I think because of Francis Ngannou, probably, because he did great against Tyson Fury. In my opinion, he won that fight, and because of that, probably things are going flowing better, and it's gonna happen soon.
Mm-hmm. I got to ask you one last one. Who was your favorite boxer to meet, boxing legend? Was there one in particular where you're like, oh, that's the guy right there?
No, well, it's hard to say. There's so many amazing guys, but I cannot stay away from getting Muhammad Ali, because he was, you understand everything what he did, and like he was the difference for not just for the boxing world, but the difference of style for the heavyweights, especially for that time. Heavyweights used to be, that's the style I like to use in my fights, to move well, to be fast, to use different angles and things like that, because he was so amazing that he was, the guys used to to be strong, to throw hard punches all the time, and he was just moving around, using his abilities to move around and throwing some fast punches against the guys. And so his style was something completely different at that time. And I think he made things much more exciting. I don't think he made things much more excited, for everybody. So I think to really, be more than Muhammad Ali, it's hard to say. But we have so many amazing names on the boxing world. We would be talking here for forever.
Yeah. Junior, thank you so much for the time, for joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. We look forward to your mixed martial arts bare knuckle fight you have coming up against Alan Belcher, the talent, a former champion at BKFC, a former UFC middleweight and light heavyweight. This should be a great fight, and we look forward to it. And thank you, as always, for stopping by.
Well, thank you guys very much, and I really appreciate your time. And let's go March 2nd here in Orlando.